Welcome to US Briefing. The content of the briefing includes Islanders and Coyotes take the ice in out-of-conference matchup. Former PM to blame for damaged brand, NSW Liberal election review finds. Athens lawyer ready to challenge for district attorney's office in 2024. Las Vegas looks to clinch WNBA finals against New York in Game 4. Biden to visit Israel as Gaza faces humanitarian catastrophe. Islanders and Coyotes take the ice in out-of-conference matchup. Associated Press. The New York Islanders will face off against the Arizona Coyotes in a non-conference matchup. The Islanders had a strong record last season and averaged 3.0 goals per game while allowing 2.6. The Coyotes struggled on the road and committed a high number of penalties. Both teams have some players listed as injured. The article was created using technology provided by DataScribe and data from Sportradar. Former PM to blame for damaged brand, NSW Liberal election review finds. ABC. An internal review of the Liberal Party's loss at the New South Wales election has found that former Prime Minister Scott Morrison's leadership damaged the party's brand. The review, conducted by former NSW Liberal MP Peter Seaton and former Premier Nick Greiner, cited the Robodebt scandal and revelations that Morrison secretly appointed himself to ministerial portfolios during the COVID-19 pandemic as reasons for the damage. The review also noted that the number one reason voters did not re-elect the party was a desire for a change of government. The review also highlighted the party's own scandals, including the controversial appointment of former Deputy Premier John Barilaro and the resignation of former Premier Gladys Berejiklian due to an investigation by the Independent Commission Against Corruption. The review suggested that investing more in social media and improving governance within the party were necessary steps for future success. Athens lawyer ready to challenge for district attorney's office in 2024. Yahoo! Kulki Yalamanchili, who is a former assistant DA in the Western Circuit, where he prosecuted a wide range of major felonies from homicides to large-scale drug cases, has announced his intent to run for district attorney of the Western Circuit in the 2024 election. Yalamanchili plans to seek the office as a nonpartisan candidate and has criticized the current district attorney, Deborah Gonzalez, for not conducting her position nonpartisanly. Las Vegas looks to clinch WNBA finals against New York in Game 4. Associated Press. The Las Vegas Aces will face off against the New York Liberty in Game 4 of the WNBA finals. The Liberty won the previous game 87-73, with Jonquil Jones leading the team with 27 points and Kelsey Plum leading the Aces with 29 points. The Liberty have a 15-5 home record and lead the league in assists, while the Aces have a 15-5 road record and are second in the league in points allowed. Key players to watch are Courtney Vandersloot and Aya Wilson for the Liberty and Kelsey Plum for the Aces. Biden to visit Israel as Gaza faces humanitarian catastrophe. Al Jazeera. U.S. President Joe Biden will visit Israel on Wednesday and meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to show support for Israel amid escalating conflict with Hamas and fears of a broader conflict with Iran. The visit comes as Israel prepares for a ground offensive in Gaza that is expected to worsen the humanitarian crisis in the region. The U.S. has also deployed 2 aircraft carriers to the eastern Mediterranean to deter the conflict from spreading. Biden will also visit Jordan to meet with King Abdullah, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. Russia set to revoke ratification of nuke test ban treaty, official says. Japan Times. Russia is revoking its ratification of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, CTBT, due to the United States' irresponsible attitude towards global security, according to the Speaker of the lower house of the Russian parliament. President Vladimir Putin stated on October 5 that he was undecided on whether or not Russia should resume nuclear testing, following calls from some Russian security experts and lawmakers to test a nuclear bomb as a warning to the West. The decision to revoke ratification was made in the interest of ensuring Russia's security. Squash stronghold Egypt celebrates sports inclusion in 2028 Games. Japan Times. Egypt is celebrating the inclusion of squash in the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, with hopes of more gold medals for the country. Noor El-Sherbini, ranked first in the world in women's squash, expressed her excitement and congratulated all squash players and fans. However, the head of Egypt's Squash Federation warned against excessive optimism. The middle seat was the toughest. Japan Airlines adds extra flight to carry heavy sumo wrestlers. CNN. Japan Airlines, JAL, had to make last-minute changes to deal with overweight passengers after realizing 2 of its planes were at risk of exceeding their weight limits. The excess weight came from a group of sumo wrestlers who were on their way to Omami Oshima for a sports festival. Since it would be difficult for larger planes to take off and land at the regional airport in Amami, JL decided to transfer 14 of the wrestlers and have them depart from Haneda Airport in Tokyo instead. On the flight back from the festival, 3 high school sumo wrestlers, weighing 140, 130 and 110 kilograms respectively, all had to sit next to each other on the flight back to Haneda from Fukuoka. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your favorite observer from the 6-degree world, Dr. Hex. Today, we have quite the eclectic mix of news to discuss. From sports matchups to political scandals, and even some weighty issues, literally, we've got it all covered. So, let's dive right in. First up, we have the New York Islanders taking on the Arizona Coyotes in a non-conference matchup. It's always exciting to see teams from different conferences go head-to-head, like a friendly game of who's got the better ice skills. Hopefully, they won't get too slippery with all those penalties the Coyotes have been committing. Speaking of penalties, it seems former Prime Minister Scott Morrison has landed his party, the Liberal Party, in a bit of hot water. An internal review found that Morrison's leadership damaged the party's brand. Ouch! Looks like he scored an own goal with that Robodebt scandal and his secret ministerial appointments. But hey, at least the voters wanted a change of government, right? Time to invest in some social media and improve governance, my friends. Meanwhile, in Athens, lawyer Kulki Yalamanchili is gearing up to challenge for the district attorney's office in 2024. He's not happy with the current DA's partisan approach, and he's ready to bring some nonpartisan justice to the table. You go, Kulki. Now, let's switch gears to the world of sports. The Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty are battling it out in Game 4 of the WNBA Finals. The Liberty took the last game with a solid win, but the Aces are not to be underestimated. It's like watching a game of chess, but with more slam dunks and fewer kings and queens. In international news, President Joe Biden is heading to Israel to show support amid the escalating conflict with Hamas. It's a tough situation, folks. Israel is preparing for a ground offensive in Gaza, which is expected to worsen the humanitarian crisis. To prevent further spread, the U.S. has deployed not 1, but 2 aircraft carriers. That's a lot of firepower, my friends. And speaking of firepower, Russia is revoking its ratification of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Apparently, they're not too happy with the U.S. attitude towards global security. President Putin is even undecided on whether or not to resume nuclear testing. It's like a high-stakes game of who's got the biggest boom. But let's end on a positive note. Egypt is celebrating the inclusion of squash in the 2028 Olympics. They're hoping for more gold medals, and squash player Noor El Sherbini is thrilled. I can already picture the country cheering on their athletes with all their might. Just don't get too carried away, warns the head of Egypt's Squash Federation. Keep it cool, folks. Finally, in a weighty situation, Japan Airlines had to make some last-minute changes to accommodate a group of sumo wrestlers. Turns out, their weight was pushing the plane's limits. So, they had to transfer some of them to another flight and squeeze 3 wrestlers together on the way back. Talk about a heavy middle seat. Well, that wraps up today's news, my friends. Remember, life is full of surprises, and the news is no exception. Stay tuned, stay curious, and keep those questions coming. I'm Dr. Hex, your trusty observer from the 6-degree world, signing off. Now, I'm curious, dear viewers, what are your thoughts on today's news? Any burning questions you'd like to ask? Fire away! Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.